Hello, everyone. I'm Matthieu David, the founder of Daxue Consulting and its podcast, China Paradign. Today, we are with Eliza Mao. So you are business development or customer success director?
I'm the customer success director.
Customer success director of SPLIO. I mixed with your previous, I think, position you had at SPLIO initially, and you're in charge of this customer success topic within SPLIO. SPLIO is a company with 5 offices, as far as I understand, in the world, about 500 clients and a team of 130 people. A lot of funding I found online, like 10 million US in funding, and in China for a while, you got funding from BPI, Amundi, BNP Paribas. For those who are French, they know about it. For those who are not French, it's a bit less known, but they are pretty famous investors actually in France. SPLIO has acquired recently a company called GoEnto, if my information is correct, and what SPLIO is doing is about designing and managing loyalty programs, if I'm correct. And this is something I'd like to understand better, how much of a software you are, how much of a SaaS you are, and how much of a service company you are. And to be totally honest, initially my idea of SPLIO was a mailing list. For me, it was about managing mails, managing a mail list, a bit like MailChimp, a bit like Blue. And then one day I looked at your company currently. I saw that it's much bigger actually as a topic.
Mm-hmm.
It's about loyalty program now, and I like to understand the changes as well. I feel that it has changed over time. Your focus now, I feel the topic is much larger than it was initially. So thanks, Eliza, for being with us today, and feel free to correct anything I said which was not correct.
Okay, so SPLIO is a software company. We provide a SaaS CRM platform. We originally, yes, we started from the email marketing automation, but now it's extended to become more coverage on different modules. We help brands to first understand where they buy, how often they buy, and we help brands to build and orchestrate omnichannel user journey. Because mainly before we used email only to connect to consumers, but now with technology advancements, and especially in China, there are so many touch points, and we get direct access to customers, and you need to really work on your retention. And on top of that, we provide end-to-end expertise from helping brands to build their CRM strategy for their data integration parts and also the daily operation.
Okay, could you tell us about your business in China? How many clients are you working with in China? To have an idea of the size of the sectors, a bit an idea of what would you do in China currently?
So in China, we working mainly with B2C clients, in retailers like fast fashion, cosmetics, skincare. We help them to build help them to build their loyalty program from scratch, or they might already have a loyalty program that is set from the global, that is set long time ago with no change, and they might still use the email as the unique key in their global system, and we help them to adapt their loyalty program to using the right channel to talk to the Chinese audience in the way that they prefer.
I see. What you say adapting from the West to China. What are the first initial steps to adapt for you? A foreign brand, overseas brands, could be whatever. I guess if you think there is differentiation between European and American, it could be interesting as well. But what are the first steps that a company has to understand when it has to adapt its loyalty program, its retention program?
Well, first, I think the main challenge is still on the omnichannel, on the data part, because compared to other markets, China has more touch points, and people use different communication tools. Like for example, in China, WeChat is the main engagement channel, and people rely heavily on WeChat. And for both online, offline, they need to bind the customers from their including their purchase, including their actions and behaviors, to need to bind every purchase and action behaviors into one single customer view and make sure that their loyalty and user journey is the same level wherever customer go. This is the first thing that.
Yeah, when you say there are more touch points, why do you say there's more touch points? If you say that about China, I immediately think about QR code. I think because if you look at, you have apps in the West, you have websites in the West, you have retail in the West, but the thing which is big in China, which is very small in the West, is QR code. What do you say when you say we have more touch points? Is it more than QR code? What is it?
I think, well, first, in China, you have WeChat, and in WeChat, you have different service account. You have mini apps. It's not only a communication tool. It's a service portal that connect brands to customer that you don't have anything like that out of China. And also, there are different social platforms, and they have different online players. We have Tmall, we have JD, we have also a lot of growing third party. And they have a strong traffic directed with KOLs and their campaigns. People read a lot of recommendations, and people will go to those platforms to check products, and they go to their online, they go to offline stores to experience.
I see. Before we dig a bit deeper on the different touch points, actually, I'd like to focus on one specifically. The one you worked on initially at SPLIO, as far as I understand, mailing. And when I arrived in China, it was 10 years ago, and I started my first business 8 years ago. I realized that people were not receiving my emails with 163.com and those QQ email and so on. The segmentation about promotion email, about email from friends and so on was already very sophisticated, a bit like Gmail now. And it was already the case like 6 or 7 years ago, where when you were promoting some businesses, people were not actually receiving it because it was going in a very specific mailbox they would not open. What's your view on emailing currently? Is basically emailing dead in China, or there is still something to do with emails?
I wasn't say emailing is dead in China. I think in some industries, people are still used to use email, especially when you book tickets or when you go to travel. For some specific industries, this is still needed, and people are willing to read in terms of email because it has more content, it has more display, especially on laptop. But in other scenarios, because of the usage of WeChat, of SMS, the trend is growing that emailing for some promotional retailers, the effect is much lower than before. And email actually is not in the gene of Chinese people. People don't think email as their main communication channel.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing. When preparing this discussion, I was thinking about what people were doing, what Chinese were doing initially when you didn't have WeChat and you had emails. So does it mean that the primary reach toward Chinese clients like 6-7 years ago was more SMS, direct calls, as much as emails? Because you say that Chinese from the origin have not been used to actually interact that much with emails. So what was how to reach Chinese clients initially 6 or 7 years ago?
Honestly speaking, the whole CRM concept is new in China.
Okay.
And with the explosion of mobile and the technology, I think this trend of CRMs grows with the communication boost. So it's not about, okay, we used to have a lot of emails and it's gradually becoming using SMS or WeChat. The trend is they grow at the same time, and people are jumping into this new era directly.
I see.
And because email was mainly connected with their websites and not like in the current ecosystem that it's all connected.
Let's look at the trendy parts of engagement with clients and customers, which is mini programs. from WeChat. Those who don't know much about the ecosystem in China, mini programs are programs made within WeChat with the API of WeChat, adapted for WeChat, with which can be responsive enough, which can open with functionalities, payment, and so on from WeChat. So, have you been able to integrate with your software mini programs and all those different touch points you were talking about, QR code and so on? Have you been able to bring this Western solution, which is SPLIO, within the ecosystem, with the API of WeChat and so on? And how, if yes, how have you made it?
Yeah, so we are a global company with global solutions, but compared to other big players, we are more adapted to China because we have connected with the local ecosystems, and including we have natively connected WeChat, and we do integration with the multiple service accounts and multiple mini apps, so we can track all the users and followers from the WeChat ecosystem and connect them to their online and offline purchases, including their Tmall JD, including from their posts. Basically, every interaction that you can track, it can be consolidated into the platform to have a single customer view, and we can design the user journey using different touch points.
I saw that you were talking online on a video on YouTube, not yourself, but it's SPLIO, about Spring. Spring is a software. Is the software you're using? Is it?
Yeah, the product used to call Spring, but now we want to have the simple way to have the same name as company name. So our platform is called SPLIO now. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So I looked at the video, and within the video, we can see that indeed you can track from every client the profiling of every client and so on. So in the video, you were showing the age, what this person bought, and so on. What can you track in China, which is different than what you can track in the West? We talk about WeChat, of course. We talk about interaction with Weibo. How does it materialize into the platform? What's the difference?
Well, basically, WeChat is heavily used because, as I said, it's not only a communication channel, a personal communication channel. It's also you have the brand service account, and on your service account, you can link your mini apps as different service. You can have your reservation system. You can have your e-commerce. It's also the e-commerce channel, and you can have your membership center embedded on your WeChat, and you can also have different H5 pages. Other than that, you have a different type of messaging through your service account, including your customer service, including your broadcast if its service account is once a week, and including your template message. Meaning you can react on a 48-hour window once your follower interact with your account. So this is already a lot of things to track. You can track a lot of their reaction to your campaigns, their interest on your post, and their interest on different services.
As far as I understand, what you are saying is that WeChat is actually a very easy platform to get information from the client, inputting himself, right? You are not actually leveraging WeChat with what he has put as comments or on moments and so on. This is what the client has put into your platform through the mini program, because WeChat is actually very close to everyone, every Chinese, because that's the app that they mainly use. Am I correct?
Yeah, gathering information, yes, but also on one-on-one communication, this can be done through a segmented broadcast or messages. So most brands are still doing broadcast to all followers with the same broadcast every week. And I think that this trend should be, because the open rate is getting lower and lower, because it's quite crowded on WeChat. And we always recommend you use segment groups for you want to send your customers personalized service and relevant information to keep them think that you are adding value to them.
Yeah, quick question. I remember that the segmentation was limited to like 5 or 10 groups before. WeChat was limiting the segments. Is it still the case?
No, our platform, you can leverage the function of target module. So you can segment into different as many groups as you want. You can use all the information of the followers if you can get. If they are already binded, you can use their purchase information from other channels. If they already buy on your Tmall, or if they already buy a certain level on your offline, all the information that can be used to do segmentation and do your communication on WeChat.
Okay. Talking about your cases, I looked at 2 documents you have online, a loyalty guide and loyalty toolkit. And I find there's a lot of Western cases, but there's not many Chinese cases. Could you tell us about some Chinese cases you have worked on and you like to emphasize on how to design the loyalty retention program and how actually it has been implemented after?
I think the most, because this whole CRM loyalty, if you try to find online about loyalty in China, it's quite limited because it's quite new. With all the foreign brands and the local brands growth, the most successful ones are still the big players. With different types of loyalty program. For example, the paid loyalty program mode. The biggest online players are doing great, including JD Plus, all the video platforms, and they have resources and they have ways to play different games. They have to cooperate with different platforms. They really provide exceptional services, but brands can learn a lot from those players as well. For example, JD Plus, they have reached above 10 million members, and they have a very high renewal rate, above 80%. That's quite close to the Amazon Prime. And if you look at all the service they provide, you can see that they really understand their customers. JD already have done a good job on their delivery, on their logistics. So they have to invest more to increase the gap between their member and their normal customers. So they have an option in their VIP to do the on-door delivery, to pick up and for return. So they are really think about what their customers need and putting a competitive advantage in their service for their loyal customers. And also there are some offline players like Nike, who's doing great with a community approach, and Joy City, who's really focusing on offline. They do a lot of tailor-made loyalty program. They give really autonomy for the local cities to add the differentiated services for local people. And this is something that a lot of brands can learn from. They can have a base loyalty program from global, but they need to have give the autonomy to local to adapt the needs of the local customers and cooperate with the other platforms if they have the resource.
When you say cooperate, I think I feel that most brands are afraid of cooperating with the giants like Alibaba, especially. What's your feedback on this? Because you say collaborate, but how can you collaborate with someone who has all the data on you? How can you collaborate with someone who actually has all the power, and if you don't spend marketing on its platform, you cannot drive traffic? What's your feedback? What's your analysis on this?
Yeah, this will depend on the brand strategy, if they really have a focus on their Tmall data or not, because Tmall is still traffic, it's still a volume traffic place for e-commerce, but usually more than, it can be 40 to 80, and for some brands on Tmall, more than 80% of their customers are new customers, and it's not it cannot say it's a loyal customer base, and you need to really work on a lot to engage with those Tmall customers. How do you connect to them? Because usually people spend one-time purchase on Tmall, and they say Chinese are not loyal on that because they just trying new things and they are not connected to your brands. And you need to make sure that you leverage all the benefits from those giant ecosystem with Ali, with Tencent, but you need to make sure that you really have your own customer strategy, and make sure that you have the direct link to your end customers and give them an omnichannel user journey.
That's the thing. It's difficult to get the direct link on Alibaba, right? On Taobao and Tmall.
Yeah, that's why you need to have a place that you can have direct interface with your end customers, and not only using Tmall to do. You can use Tmall to do your promotions, and you can work with them on different campaigns to get the traffic. But after those customers buy, how do you connect with them? How do you want to communicate with them using your own brand strategy? That's the key point.
Okay. You talk about Nike as an example of good case of loyalty program and retention. Would you like to be a bit more specific about what they've done in specific cases you think have been successful, have been inspiring?
So Nike, they don't have what we call a typical points and tier loyalty program. They have a community approach. They have the Nike Plus app, and they want to put all their customers into a community sense, into their own platform, that with all the courses, with all the trainings, and they don't do direct like promotion communication, like you need to have this product or that. They don't do that. They just have the people with the same interest, and they want to grow this stickiness and belonging sense to do a lot of community events. And it takes a lot. Actually, it's not something that every brand can do. You creating a community takes a lot of resource. But we can show that, because also like brands like Decathlon, they are also trying to do similar things. It's quite a way to grow the younger generation, especially for Nike.
I see. So basically, you're analyzing that interesting point. You're analyzing the retention program through the creation of a community, and more specifically through apps, maybe mini program actually in China. So are you talking about the running app of the Nike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I see. And
they have different campaigns. They have different seasonal campaigns that brought by mini apps and linked directly with their service account. So they have different challenges that they gather people and invite friends to participate.
I see. And when you have this mix of offline and online, like an app for running and creating community for running, and then you want to drive, it's going through your phone, and you want also to drive to your shop afterwards. How can SPLIO help? How does your software help in connecting offline and online? You're talking a lot on your website about omnichannel. You're talking actually more precisely about offline and online. How does it work with very specific cases?
So we help brands to bind their customer data. We can use the loyalty program as an entry to make sure that every customer goes to offline. When they go to online, of course, you have their delivery, you have at least their phone number. Usually in China, we use mobile phone as the unique identifier. And you have your follower database, and you want to convert them to identify some, bind their phone numbers through a mini app or through a service account. And you bind using the unique identifier to bind all their purchase and their actions. And also, if you have offline or online events, you can mark them and tag them into the customer database.
Okay. So does it go through QR code in China? How do you do?
You can, if it's offline, you can have a QR code to easily access your service account or your mini app for the membership loyalty program, to incentive your customer to join the membership program. And if you go to do KOL campaigns, you can also direct them to your QR code membership. So you can identify all your new recruitments through any channel. You can check the source of your follower base and membership source. And then you have all your purchase from offline and online. And when they purchase, you want them to identify themselves, so you can accumulate all their purchase histories.
I see. In order to understand better the clients of your clients, B2C, are you also using what we call DSP, DMP, data setting platform, data managing platform? Is it something which is mature enough in China? Is it something that you are using? And is it an industry which is actually effective? There are a lot of questions about DSP. I don't know if you are using it for your clients.
So we work with partners who's focusing on those areas that some customer they want to build a DMP on themselves, and our platform is connected to that. And we are very focused on customer data. So we provide reporting business intelligence on the customer data, and they can extract those segments and they can do their own analysis and integrate with their own DMP systems.
I see. And what about DSP? Have you been enriching the data of your clients through DSP in China? Is it something you feel there is an opportunity?
Not in recent cases.
Okay.
Usually we work with partners on that, but we are not directly in charge of that area.
Okay. Got it. Recently, SPLIO was a speaker at the China Connect, which is a conference about the Internet China, about e-commerce, about consumers in China. Would you mind sharing some of the key findings you have been talking about at the conference?
So it's mainly about China and the China ecosystems and how to do the loyalty in China and what are the things to do and what are things to avoid.
Okay, so what are they? Maybe we have already covered some of them, I guess.
Yeah, so for example, we already talked about WeChat, we already talked about the uniqueness of and also China, for Chinese consumers, it is a bit different from what we usually see in Europe. And we need to understand that the Chinese customers are now in a phase that they are very enthusiastic to try new things. They are very enthusiastic in reading all the reviews and recommendations. That's why we always say when you enter China, you need to make sure your KOL strategy is right. You need to make sure that you're talking to your customers with the right message, and also personalization is very key. You need to have different strategies for your new customers and your existing ones, especially when you do loyalty. Compared to out of China, Chinese people are relatively less sensitive on the data, and especially with the easy registration process, it is not that hard, especially when you have an offline presence. The recruitment convert rate can be high when you give them direct, immediate, attractive benefits right away and with a simple process. But also Chinese, more than half of them, they don't know the difference between different loyalty programs, and you need to work on the retention part. How do you make your loyalty program stand out? How do you make your end user to have a deeper experience, to know that this is adding value and they want to keep engaging with your loyalty program?
I see. You talked about a number. I like to have an idea of how to compare with the West. In your presentation, you said that an increase of 5% of engagement and retaining clients can increase by 55% profit of the company, which is basically maybe 25% the cost of acquisition of a client. So you don't have to pay it anymore. So maybe you increase by 25% actually your profit. Would you be able to share some data about opening rate, about basically engagement on a campaign in China compared to the West?
You mean for the marketing campaigns?
Yeah, for loyalty program and retention.
So it really depends on your budget, on what channel and what kind of promotions, and if this is, it can be really high. For example, if you have we have clients who's doing a WeChat campaign using the mini app. It can be 20% of the converts, and it can amount to 3 times more than their average.
So it's a
But also
20% conversion rate. 20% conversion
Yeah.
rate or 20% conversion rate. So you send 1,000 interaction. I mean, it could be a push notification. You have 200 people buying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there can be a small audience.
I see. What's the communication usually on those push notification? I remember that some time ago it was still a lot of discount. Do you feel it's still a lot of discount, or it's more like unique products to buy, which make it there's some scarcity on the product? So your basis is buying it because the window of opportunity is very narrow. Is it more about the price? The price is lower. Is it more about novelty? The product is new. What are the best interaction in China you have seen so far in terms of results, number of sales?
Well, usually, if you do the campaign on WeChat, we would suggest that you do the customized product or the seasonal ones or the co-branding, and because you need to have something that is different from other online channels, and with the broadcast campaigns, and you can be a pop-up. It can be a pop-up store on your WeChat that people think this is. Really speaks to them with their KOLs, and they cannot buy otherwhere. But also there are still promotions related if you it's more about the recruitment for targeting to your
sorry, good.
Yeah, for targeting to your new followers, if the focus more on recruitment, of course you want to throw some discount and promotions.
I see.
But for your new products or your existing customer boost, it's still a very good, attractive way to do some customization, do some highly exclusive events, do some co-branding products.
Okay. When you say pop-up store on WeChat, is it a website, an H5? When you say H5, it's HTML5, it is responsive website. Is it a website dedicated for this event, this purpose? Is it what you call pop-up store on WeChat?
It also can be a mini app.
Okay, yeah, it can be a mini app, a mini program within WeChat. So this is basically again a platform, whatever the format, from the website, whatever, dedicated for a specific event. That's what you call a pop-up store, online pop-up store.
Yes.
And not the brand website. I see. Okay, I see. Interesting. When you say co-branding, since I've been in China, I saw a company like Disney doing a lot of co-branding, teaching English and so on. I've seen some major companies doing co-branding, but which one have been so far very successful for you? I'm not sure all of them have been very successful. Which one would you see are very successful as co-branding?
When I say co-branding, I mean for example, if you do some loyalty, the benefits and reward can be a co-branding product. Not only you need to have the big co-branding product, but you can have the design part as a co-branding effort.
So what do you mean by design?
I mean, we see a lot of hot brands who's doing the co-branding design.
Okay. Oh, I see. So there's the designers are working together on the product. I see. I understand. I understand. It's not necessarily only the logo. It's not necessarily putting together the product and everything's the brand.
It's more of a marketing campaign. It's like Uniqlo is doing a lot of co-branding efforts with other brands. And,
okay. I'm taking some note of what you say to go back on it. What would be a bad conversion rate in China? You said 20% conversion rate for some of your clients. On the other hand, do you have some numbers about the average conversion rate you should expect when you engage a loyalty campaign an engagement campaign with your current database of clients? Do you have metrics?
I think, as I said, it really depends on your different industry, your different strategies. If you have a really a big focus on offline, I think the offline the conversion rate can be much higher because you have offline stores. You have the staff to promote, and for example, if you are a fast fashion who have mainly 80-90% from your offline, you can have 80-90% of enrollment rates, and with the 5 to 10%, it's already on the redemption rate. It's already very good. And if you have a very strong focus on your online, mainly on your Tmall, on your WeChat store, 10%, 5 to 10% enrollment rates is already good, and then you will require a much higher participation or redeem rate to have an efficient loyalty campaign.
Okay, and in terms of frequency, do you have some directions when you meet with a client, when you advise a client on the frequency of campaign you should organize? How often should you be in contact with your client? I know that it's depending in terms of industry. I believe that if you are in the fast food industry, it may be every day to actually offer them a lunch or something. But Jenny, maybe to pick one segment like fast fashion, like apparel, or another one you are familiar with, what frequency would you advise?
Yeah, as you said, it depends on the customer purchase frequency. And first, we usually suggest that clients with their consolidated data, because usually they don't have a consolidated view of how often their customer buy. And we help them first to have that, because you might only get data that they go to your store, but you don't know that they actually they check your other channels very often. And once you have that, you understand better your customer base. Maybe before you think your customer buy from you once 3 months, but actually they look at your products. Before they go to the second purchase, they already are checking on the second month. So this is something that we also help brands to improve for skin, for example, skincare once 3 months, and at which stage you should give them a communication to, especially when you know that what kind of product they buy and what kind of information they are looking for, and what actions they already shows interest on your WeChat, on your service account. And you can incentive them with the promotion, but also give them information and advice that they should be interested in the regular basis. That's the whole purpose of design the whole user journey and touch points.
I see. Going back on the methodology you have, I think it's very interesting. You are looking at how many times the current customers, current clients are going on the website, are interacting with the app, every touch point you were mentioning, and saying, oh, for instance, your customers are coming very often, but you do a campaign only every 6 months. So maybe we can consider a campaign every 2 months, because they come 3 times in over 6 months on average. So basically they interact with you 3 times. So they are looking for the information for 3 times. Is it a correct understanding what you are saying?
Yes. So including their purchase and including their actions. So if they buy on your offline and they buy on your Tmall, and they buy on your JD, before you don't know they are actually the same person. So now you once they bind it, you know that they buy different channels, but they might go to one place to look for information. So on your WeChat, on your broadcast, you also can check if one of your customers is really sharing, is the kind of ambassadors of your brand, and you can know that they are interested in which type of product or service, that you can react on that in time.
Okay, and that's linked to the fact that you are tracking the identity of people through the phone, as what you were saying. When you say the phone, as an identifier? Is it the phone number or is it the device?
It's the phone number as the identifier.
Okay.
And if they are not binded, it will be their open ID of the service account or the union ID of their mini app usage, because you can identify them as one follower between the service accounts and the mini apps.
Yes. Alibaba has been commercializing a new way of tracking the users, which is this unique identifier from Alibaba. Alibaba being present so much over the web that they are able to collect and actually align all the information and correlate all the information of one person all over the web. Have you been experiencing the information, these tools from Alibaba?
It is mainly about your campaigns, and we work on the first party data mainly. And Alibaba currently, they don't give you all the information. They are holding the data.
But they can target for you, right? They tell you, yes, we will target those people very accurately because we have all this data, but we keep the data.
Yes, exactly.
I like SSP. Okay, okay, I see. Do you have to retain to retain clients, your clients, to not to do too many campaigns? Do your clients tend to want to do too many campaigns, or that's the opposite? What you're feeling about usually brands and interaction with customers? Do they want to do too much or too less interaction?
I wouldn't say too much. I would say they still want to do they still don't put enough efforts on their personalized campaigns. Okay. They want to do broadcast to all. They want to have their regular campaigns to all their audience to make sure that everyone gets the information. But I think this is also risky in some cases, because you are abused the communication that customers might get annoyed.
In terms of personalization, it has been hot some time now. It's not as hot as before. Retargeting has been hot to the West, and I saw that you are using for your own use Hubstaff in order to do some marketing automation with your own clients. What are the tools that you can use in China? Is retargeting big in China? Are tools existing to do retargeting and easy to use, as much as Facebook Pixel, as much as LinkedIn Pixel? From my own understanding so far, it's not as easy in China as in the West to retarget your clients, like putting a pixel in your website. What's your view on it?
Yeah, I think this is also growing in China. There's also the look-like feature that's kind of similar to Facebook from Tencent, that you can upload your data and to do retargeting. And there are some agencies who's trying to do the retargeting with the customer base and the media data. The trend is for sure is growing. That's the key, I think, for the next phase of the big data.
But lookalike campaign, for those who don't know what it is, it's a word from Facebook, where you upload the data of your current customers and you retarget them on Facebook, because Facebook has all those data about everyone. So you're able to upload the email and they find the person on Facebook retargeting your message. Which platform is offering that now in China?
Tencent.
Tencent is doing that, and Alibaba is doing that as well? Or it's mainly Tencent?
Mainly Tencent right now.
Mainly Tencent. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Also, another topic I'm in terms of engagement and retention with clients, which has been big in the West, but I have not seen in China yet. So that's the opposite. We talk about innovation in China a lot. Now it's innovation which is from the West, which I've not seen in China. It is all the subscription-based model, like Birchbox, where you receive a sample, you try it, and then you can buy the product. Have you seen something happening in China? Have you seen some momentum on this new way of interacting and testing a product? So to remind people who are listening to us, the Birchbox model, subscription-based model, is you receive a sample, like every month you receive 5 samples, a lot of cosmetics, you try them, and then you are able to purchase them on the website actually of this box website at certainly a discount, certainly a favorable offer or price. Have you seen something similar in China?
What you describe is the Sephora who's doing the Play box out of China in US, which is quite successful. But in China, in the beauty industry, I haven't seen a successful case like that people have to pay a monthly fee on the box of samples. But a lot of brands who do the sampling to their, it's like a free gift or additional benefit for their status tiered members, and not exactly, it's not yet the paid box, it's not yet the trend that customer really want to buy. I don't see it a very high conversion in the beauty sector so far.
What about sampling? What about sampling? Samples?
Yes, yeah. Samples, Chinese love samples. Especially there are a lot of skincare brands who do the sample to use the sample to recruit members. It's a very good trend because people can try, especially when you buy one certain type of product that the brand has the hero product, and they want to extend their product promotion, that they will send the sample with other product line for customers to try.
Okay, I discussed with a brand some time ago, like I think 4 years ago, a very big brand, cosmetic, and they were saying that when they entered China, the retails of online was not as developed as now. The retails were using the shop, the sales in the shop were using the samples a bit like a discount. So they were saying, oh, buy this product, I will put like 10 samples for you, so we get more. Actually, have you seen the use of sample being more mature with a real strategy on it? And how do you use sample with online channels? Because you still have to send to someone the sample to try. Have you seen anything happening, or is it still mainly about offline?
Online, it's the same. When people buy, they will have brands have different strategies on giving what kind of samples, and sometimes they use that as incentive. If you reach into this amount, they will give you a nice bag with different other small samples. It's already very common online too.
Okay, so it's still a little bit like a discount or get more for the same price idea, and less about a trial, a test of the product.
It's also about the trial, because for some brands, they want to, because on Tmall, usually we buy the hot product of the brand. We don't know much about this brand. And this is very crucial when you can add your product sample of other product line to promote your product, not only on the one product that sells best.
I see. Okay. Okay, thanks so much for all this sharing, all this information. Anything you would like to add to the audience who's going to listen to the interview about SPLIO and about loyalty and engagement programs?
I would say the key message is the success loyalty program is not only to build your purchase behavior, but also to build a positive affection that's along the journey, that you really need to invest efforts in every touch points, and to make sure that the level of service is the same in the omnichannel journey.
Yeah, which is not easy, and we see a lot of luxury brands that disconnect actually offline and online. The same client can be in a shop and going online and not connecting. Still a big topic, even in 2019. Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you very much, Eliza, for being with us today. And I guess we will release very soon the video to our audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.